Marathon couples therapy or intensive couples therapy is a really great way to get couples therapy in a concentrated way. It can involve 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days, depending on what the clinician offers and what your needs are. This can be really great for a number of people. Perhaps it's helpful for you if you're a busy professional and getting time off work to attend regular weekly meetings isn't really easy or really possible. Doing therapy over a weekend can be really helpful to get you accelerated in your progress. Perhaps you live far away from your therapist, or the person in town doesn't quite offer what you want, and telehealth or video therapy isn't right for you. This might mean that you can book accommodation, you might get your therapy over a couple of days, and you can get that support that you require or that you need if you don't have access to a couples therapist in your area. It can be really helpful for some people who just want to kind of knock it out in one setting, to get some stuff done, to get a lot of progress in what might otherwise take several weeks of weekly or fortnightly therapy. You might be able to achieve that over a weekend. Maybe there's lots of water under the bridge, or there's some really big heated things happening for you, like an infidelity, or there's a crisis, and you might require that intensive support. Intensive therapy or a marathon session might be just what you need. It's helpful for people who maybe have had really ineffective therapy in the past, who haven't been able to keep on track with regular scheduled appointments, and so they haven't felt they've made the gains that they want, or the therapy hasn't quite met their needs. In intensive couples therapy, the therapist gets to know you, and you get to really get into a groove and get deeper into some of those issues and concerns, and understand them as you peel back the layers and really know what's happening. This could be really helpful for you for some of these big topics, these big, hairy, scary, or challenging things that might pop up. It could be that it's premarital. You might want to come for an intensive session prior to making an additional commitment to someone, prior to getting married, maybe prior to living together, to figure some things out, to get on the same page, to understand each other better. This can be really great to help you move your relationship forward. Some people use it for discernment counseling. So if they're not sure whether they want to separate, intensive sessions can help them understand what's going on, maybe look at what life might be like if they did in fact break up, or what might be required to make the relationship work, or what might be required to help heal those wounds and to help get the relationship on track, and make a decision if that's something they feel ready or prepared to do. It can be helpful for clarity, for recovering from infidelity, for confidence, and to really flesh out what some things mean, what's important to you, and how you can resolve some of those within a marathon session, within an intensive weekend workshop. Some other things that people come to intensives for is for things like finances, understanding their parenting goals. Maybe they've had a life transition, maybe they've had children go into high school or empty nest, and they want to have an intensive period of support to understand how those changes are impacting their relationship. What could take maybe 12 weeks of fortnightly sessions, that's only 6 sessions. That can be done in one day. It could take you 6 months to get the same amount of therapy sessions as you could do in a 2-day intensive. So you really get to get right in there, get stuff happening, peel back layers, and have a deep understanding of what's happening in your relationship. So what can you expect in a marathon session? The process can differ slightly between people. How I like to work is there might be a clarity call, so we might have a bit of a chat, 15 minutes, half an hour, with either or both people, just to check that it's the right fit. Then they'll send you an online form to complete. This forms part of the assessment for the therapy. When we meet face to face, I will meet with both people. We'll go through your relationship, might start right back from how you met and really understand and get to know the two of you as a couple. And then I meet with you separately. We have a chance to talk about some of the things in the assessment and different things that come up for each of you. And then we come back together and I share my findings. I'll come up with a detailed treatment plan, and I'll talk to you about some of the things that you're doing really well and I'd like you to continue. And I'll share some of my observations on some of the areas that I've noticed might require some additional support, and match that with what your hopes are, your expectations, and the things that you've identified as important. And then we get right into it. I will teach you some new ways of having tough conversations, and we will actually start having those tough conversations. You will get a range of different tools and strategies that you can use once you're out of the therapy room. In the second day, we start to use those tools and techniques that we learned in day one to start to tackle more conversations. So it could be that it's one conversation that requires, or one topic that requires multiple hours to really understand and get to the bottom of, or it could be that there are several pain points that we're working through slowly, and each one has a few hours dedicated to it. So you really get in there and get into the nitty-gritty things of the relationship. And sometimes, let's be honest, things can feel like a bit of a shit Sunday, and I'm not going to be able to put on some sprinkles and just call it a day. It might be that it requires some additional support. The intensive program will give you a lot of tools in a condensed period of time. It won't fix what is a shit Sunday. So there are some things that we need to adjust our expectations of, and we will talk about that. That intensive program might get you started and on track, and we might then require further additional support. And they're the things that you'll discuss with your therapist. So in intensive programs, we start to build the building blocks to help you have safe conversations about those tough topics in a safe space. This will give you a chance to accelerate some of those conversations and give you the tools to have them differently. At the end of the session, I'll make some recommendations for further resources and materials that you can use to continue the work that you're doing. Marathon sessions can change the dynamic of your relationship in a really short period of time. Why a marathon session? I've seen increased popularity in these over the years. Sometimes it's because people are time poor, sometimes they're impatient and they don't want to wait months and months and months. And some people have heard from friends or family about how valuable it can be. Yes, it's exhausting, it can be emotionally taxing, and they feel that they get a lot out of those sessions because there's a dedicated time and space with someone there to witness and facilitate those conversations and give them the tools so they can have those conversations in a different way. And for some people, that's really appealing and that's really enticing, and they want to get in there and they want to get it sorted or understand it without having to wait months and months of individual sessions, because those individual sessions, those 50-minute or 1 hour sessions, can go really quickly. In intensives, we can do some really good work that we maybe can't do in those traditional sessions because time just passes so quickly, and there might have been other things that happen in between the sessions that makes it hard to stay on track with some of the things that people really want, what's important to them. Some people find short sessions frustrating, and that's okay. They like the idea of having it done in one go. And some people don't like the way traditional sessions have worked in the past, and maybe they like to try something new. When is it not suitable? Each person will have a different preference or different ideas of what they can and can't work with. So it's really important that if you're in high conflict, if there's significant substance abuse, if there's violence, that you discuss those things with your therapist, because it might not be appropriate to do an intensive couples therapy at that particular point in time. It might not be suitable for you if you want to take it slow and you want homework in between sessions and you want a chance to practice some of those tools and techniques and consolidate it. For others, it is costly. For some people, that's something that is manageable, and for others, they need to space that out over multiple months, and cost might be a barrier to accessing an intensive program. For some, having someone look after your children can be really tricky. Maybe you can't find a babysitter or have someone look after your children for 2 whole days so you can do an intensive program. For others, the intensive program can be really helpful because you might only need someone to babysit for an overnight stay, and you can get a lot of stuff done. To learn more about our couples therapy offerings or the marathon sessions, head on over to the website at thetherapyhub.com.au.